in the morning, and you'd hear the band practicing, and you could hear the drummers going, it's like, oh, it's fall. You know? That's just like the best feeling I remember that felt unique to my childhood. Is like, there's a football game, a home football game today, and it was like the whole town came together for that.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think of anything. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I don't think there's anything. Nashville is kind
so
of a
much stuff.
big small town. Yeah, you know. I'm trying to think if anything is uniquely Nashville. You know, I mean, one of the things I always thought was the kind of thing that only happens in Nashville is that you'd go. My parents are not in the music business, but we're church-going folks, and so we'd go see their musicians who would go to our church. It being, if you guys are from the Bible Belt or understand that culture, it's not like church is a thing. It's just a part of life. You just do it. It's like going to school, eating, showering, go to church. It's just a thing you do. And we would have various people who would like their job would be songwriting, because that's, you know, a cottage industry in Nashville. And so my parents would take me to see like a guy play music a lot when I was young. We'd go see various people play. Sometimes your dentist is the rhythm guitar player for some blues band. Other times you go see, I remember that one time they took me to see this guy who kind of dabbled in and out of our church. I'm like, oh, he's really talented, we're gonna go see him. And so we'd go to this tiny venue that was just half the size of the stage. I mean, really tiny. And you sit there and you listen to a guy who looks like he doesn't have two nickels to rub together, play like 5 songs that he wrote that won Grammys. I remember this guy, he had written Forever Never Amen, The Gambler, and what later became my wedding song, When You Say Nothing at All. He had written or co-written those songs, and I'm like, that's Nashville for you, man. That dude looks like he doesn't have a pot to piss in, and turns out one of the most talented men in music. It was awesome. And my favorite part, he was playing The Gambler, which is a song I grew up on. We all know that song. And he wrote The Gambler, and he's sitting there singing, he's like, on a train bound to nowhere, met up with the gambler, we were both too tired to sleep. Right, too tired to sleep. Like the audience had to keep reminding him of the words. He's like, hey, I wrote it, I didn't record it. Like
That sounds like a Rob Bendick gig.
Well, do you think about it, the guy's name was Don Schlitz, and Don Schlitz didn't play the song town to town, you know, on tour. He wrote the song, it got recorded, it became a hit, and then that was, you know, he would play it at Singers and Songwriters Night at the Bluebird. The Bluebird Cafe is the venue I'm talking about. Bluebird Cafe now being famous, but back then was famous for songwriters, but it wasn't famous internationally. And I really loved all the exposure I got to music in Nashville from my, again, non-musician parents who would just take me to see bands at 15 and 16, you know, years old, and it was great because I never associated going to see bands with getting hammered. I never associated going to see bands with bar culture. I just associated going to see bands with appreciating music. And it's a great thing to learn when you're a kid. Both the performance of it when you see a band, or the crafting of it when you'd watch songwriters. And I have tremendous respect for what these boys do, writing their music, and the songwriters I got to see growing up. So that was, to me, that was a very uniquely Nashville thing that I got to do as a kid. Thank you for your question. You.
Hello.
Hey.
This question is for both of you. When Lucifer was first sent into the cage, why didn't God, Gabriel, or any other angel visit him?
I don't know, Bubba?
A real tight schedule up there in heaven.
Yeah, Bubba had a thing.
Just lots of, you have no idea how many meetings you take when you're God.
I think I was in hiding, if I'm to believe episode 1320. I was hanging out with Loki in Monte Carlo, so I couldn't leave the ladies hanging. I invited them over. We were having a poker game. There was stuff going on. I couldn't just bolt. What do you want me to do, be rude?
When Lucifer is your son, at a certain point, you just gotta give up. And you go, you know what? You give yourself out of this one. I bailed him out of the principal's office so many times. And then at a certain point you go, you know what? You got this. I got other problems to worry about. It's tough. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy, you know. You know, your parents, you get it.
You think your kids are bad, just remember, they're not Lucifer. It's not that bad. Thank you for your question. You.
Hi.
Hi.
So the mystery spot episode is one of my favorites. So I was wondering if you guys had any like tourist traps that you've been to that you thought were really cool, or any places where you're like, no, this is actually a tourist trap and these people don't see it.
I had a tourist trap that we used to go to when I was a kid in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Gatlinburg, which may be a classy place now. I haven't been in a lot of years, but it had a lot of low rent things back, and one of them was Xanadu, the foam home of tomorrow. The whole pitch being you would make your house out of foam. And I think the engineering flaw came, and the sun that was great. When it rained, suddenly your house weighed 9 million pounds. It's like the Nerf ball factor. It would sink into the soil. But I just remember thinking, Xanadu, the foam home of tomorrow, and watching as people lined up to go into it, thinking, there's gotta be better ways to waste your money. There just has to be. Surely a stiff breeze, you could throw that 5 up in the air and watch it fly away. That'd be more entertaining than touring Xanadu, the foam home of tomorrow. Now, egg on my face if the foam home industry takes off shortly and we're all living in foam homes and we're doing a foam con in a foam hotel and we're on a foam stage and foam becomes the source of all stability.
And we got FOMO.
Yeah, we got FOMO.
I
will have FOMO.
I got FOMO of the FOMO.
I missed out on the fear of missing out on the foam.
FOMO, FOMO. FOMO, FOMO. Foam, home, FOMO. I got FOMO, FOMO.
Sounds like you have fear of calling your parents. It's like your phone home.
My parents who live in a foam home. Then I have phone home, FOMO.
Do this. What if E.T.?
No, E.T. phone home, FOMO. There's a lot of in California. There are a lot of those traps. Mystery Spot is up by the Redlands, right? It's
I don't know.
Northern California, yeah. I've been there, but if you go up the coast from California, there's lots of, and I've stopped at a lot of them. But one of them, there's a place called the Madonna Hotel.
That's
Inn.
awesome.
The Madonna Inn.
San Luis Obispo, that's it, right?
Madonna Inn, and the whole thing is every room is decorated, has a different theme. So it's like the Tarzan room, the cowboy room, whatever it is, and I went in and I was doing this thing. We were like shooting this show a long time ago, and so I went and got a tour of one of the rooms. And you go in there and you're like, okay, but really, what's the deal here? What are we doing really? We're just
those themed rooms scare me.
Because you don't know what's happening.
I don't. It's one of those things where you think, whatever you do, don't click on a black light in the cowboy room. You know what I mean? It's like, let's all just sleep in long pajamas and wear socks and just get the hell out of here in the morning.
I had no desire to sleep there.
No.
I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it. Good. But people flock to the Madonna Inn. They really.
Yeah, people love
the Madonna Inn.
Especially Madonna.
They used to have this thing. Do you remember? I don't have a Madonna room. The Madonna Inn.
No.
I don't know.
Well, you definitely don't want to turn a black light on in that one.
Hey, did you ever go to the Crescent Heights? In Los Angeles, they used to have like a hot tub. It's like a little hotel you could rent by the hour, and there was like themed hot tub themed stuff, like waterfalls and hot tubs and stuff like that.
Good Christ.
I know it sounds so ridiculous to say now, but when we first moved to LA, we were like, what fun, that would be so fun. So a group of friends. Yeah, it's my friend's Mark's birthday.
No, not Mark. God.
And we rented one of the rooms, and when we got in there, we realized, oh no, this is that. That's what this is.
What else would it be?
For people who like hot tubs. You've been in a hot tub for so long.
You like a hot tub, you buy one, you don't rent it by the hour.
I was waiting tables. I couldn't couldn't afford a hot tub.
Well, luckily, fungus and bacteria don't survive well in moist, warm environments. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
If you turned a black light on in there, you wouldn't see any color change because it would all be luminescent. Just wall to wall. You were in that soup too, Bobby. There's some Bobby particles floating in the air.
It was very, very, very chlorinated.
Oh, yeah, well, they haven't made a chemical that could kill all that.
Yeah.
Lord. Gross.
Yeah.
Note to self, don't go to Mark's birthday. Thank you for your question.